My blood froze the second I saw him. There he was, standing in the center of my daughter's engagement party, flashing the same devastating smile that had once fooled me. The crystal champagne glass slipped from my trembling hand, crashing against the marble floor, shards scattering like secrets breaking free. The sound pierced through the music and laughter, drawing every eye in the glittering room toward me. Yet, I couldn't move. My lungs seized. My heart pounded. My mind screamed at me that the ghost of my past had walked straight back into my life. My name is Eleanor Brooks, though friends and family call me Ellie. I am 65 years old, a retired librarian who thought she had already endured life's most painful chapters. I had survived the sudden death of my husband. I had raised my daughter alone. I had even endured betrayal that stripped me of nearly everything I had left. I believed that the worst was behind me. But in that elegant penthouse ballroom overlooking Seattle's Lake Union, surrounded by polished wood, soft lights, and music, I realized that storms can return when you least expect them. Because the man holding my daughter's hand, the man she proudly introduced as Nathan Cole, was none other than Daniel Price, the same man who had conned me 7 years earlier, draining my life savings and leaving me broken in the dark. I forced my lips into a fragile smile, though every bone in my body wanted to scream. Inside, a vow formed sharp and cold as steel. This time, I would not be fooled. This time, I was not the grieving widow he once preyed upon. The room shimmered with the glow of Seattle's skyline spilling through tall glass windows. The crowd was a tapestry of lawyers, business executives, and friends from my daughter Lauren's firm. The scent of roses mixed with champagne as music drifted between clusters of laughter and conversation. On the surface, it was a night of celebration. But to me, every detail felt like part of a stage Nathan had constructed to impress and ensnare. Lauren Brooks, my daughter, 32 years old, radiant in her silk gown, seemed the picture of joy. Her dark hair shone beneath the chandelier's glow, her laughter warm and unguarded as she leaned into Nathan's arm. To her, Nathan was everything she had ever wanted: attentive, confident, successful. To me, he was a predator wrapped in charm, a man whose lies wore a suit as easily as skin. As Lauren guided me toward him, Jenna Park, her best friend since college, embraced me warmly. Jenna whispered, "Ellie, isn't he just perfect for her?" I could not answer truthfully. I simply nodded and murmured something polite, though inside I was screaming. Nathan, ever the master of performance, glided from guest to guest with polished ease. His laugh rang at just the right moment, his handshake firm but never overbearing, his memory for names uncanny. To the untrained eye, he was magnetic, a man who could command admiration without effort. But I had seen this performance before. I had memorized every trick in his act. 7 years earlier, in 2018, my life had been fragile, torn open by the sudden loss of my husband, David. I had stumbled through grief, attending counseling sessions at a small center across from a coffee shop where I often sat afterward, clutching cups of tea like lifelines. That was where I met him. Daniel Price. He was kind, attentive, a stranger who seemed to carry his own grief. He listened to me with an intensity that felt rare, his eyes fixed on me as though my pain mattered. Slowly, over 10 months, he wove himself into my life. He made me believe that I was still seen, still valued, still capable of being loved. And then, when trust had blossomed, he spoke of an investment opportunity. Steady, safe, secure. He promised it was the kind of chance my late husband would have wanted me to take. I handed him $78,000, the last of David's life insurance. Within weeks, Daniel Price was gone. No calls, no trace, no money. Just silence, and a hole in my life deeper than grief. Now, in that glittering ballroom, he had returned under a new name, Nathan Cole. As the night unfolded, Lauren announced that their wedding would be held in just 4 weeks' time. Guests clapped and cheered while my stomach turned. 4 weeks. Too soon, too fast, too much like the pattern I knew too well. I watched Nathan closely. Every polished gesture was a mask, every laugh a cover, every word too smooth, too prepared. Later that night, long after the guests had left and the city had grown quiet, I sat at my kitchen table. The hum of the refrigerator filled the silence as I opened my laptop. If Nathan Cole was who I thought he was, there would be clues. There are always clues. His records were perfect, too perfect. Every document began in January 2020. Business filings, tax records, apartment leases, all beginning neatly, as if he had been born fully formed that year. Before that, nothing. No college photographs, no job history, no old friendships frozen in Facebook memories. For a man in his 50s, such a clean slate was impossible. I scribbled notes across paper, arrows, timelines, patterns. Nathan Cole was a mask, and Daniel Price was the face beneath. But proof mattered more than suspicion, and I knew who could help me. The next morning, I called Sandra Roos, a private investigator recommended by a friend who once needed to vet a potential son-in-law. Sandra was sharp-eyed in her 50s, with the patience of someone who had stared into too many lies and recognized the shadows beneath. We met at a small diner on the city's edge where I spread my notes before her. Sandra studied the evidence and nodded. You were right to be suspicious. People don't just appear out of thin air. Records this clean usually mean they were manufactured. Someone built this identity. 2 days later, she returned with a folder heavy with documents. The face inside was the same. My Daniel, my Conman. Except this time, the file bore different names from different cities: Phoenix, Nashville, Denver. In Phoenix 2020, a woman named Aisha Patel lost her inheritance just before her engagement collapsed. In Nashville 2022, Monica Delgado, a widow with a large payout, saw her accounts drained before her fiancé vanished. In Denver 2023, Paige Turner inherited a jewelry business, gone within weeks of meeting Nathan Cole. Sandra's voice was calm but steady. It's a pattern. Women in their late 20s to late 30s. Quick engagements. Financial ruin. Sudden disappearances. Your daughter is the next mark. I felt my breath tighten, rage and terror colliding inside me. Lauren was walking straight into his trap. That Sunday, Lauren invited me to dinner at her townhouse. Nathan insisted on cooking, crafting elaborate Italian dishes.